Welcome back to the M3 podcast. This weekend we got Dalton and Logan on from the MMG squad. We have Jeff Julian on this week. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, happy.
I have a feeling we're going to have a pretty long episode considering all of this bourbon that we have on the table. And we got great cigars, thanks to you. And
thank you.
We can go talk business, we can talk bourbon, we can talk golf, we can talk cigars. Pretty much everything we do every time.
That's right. That's exactly what we do. So in no particular order, of course.
Yeah, no particular order. But let's start off with, I'm going to let you pick the first pour we go into. You can have them hand anything down, you pick, and then we'll go through this and we'll talk as we progress.
Okay, let's do the Weller Special Reserve. Right?
Should we say what we're doing?
Most people probably might recognize that bottle. You know, it's probably the only Weller that you can maybe actually find in Kansas City in the store, right?
True that.
And this is probably last year's 2023, and then this is what did I say, 1960?
67, I think that one.
Oh crap! Oh, I just took $500 of it up. 60. Yeah, the corks.
The cork's a little soft.
The corks on a 1967 bottle are not exactly sturdy, stable pieces of equipment. So sorry about that.
But so we have 67.
Already.
Yeah. The wildest thing about this is the price tag. That's still on here for $4.99.
$4.99. I spent more than $4.99 right there.
But we'll take a very, very small pour. We had a little taste of it before. You give the pours.
All right.
We'll taste this against.
Yeah. So we'll do the 2023 Special Reserve stuff that you can get in the store if you happen to get there on the right day.
So, how long ago did you get into the bourbon side of things?
Oh, it was about probably 2017, I would say.
17?
18, I just started, just not to the level of that I knew, the obsessive compulsiveness that I have now. But, I was starting to really like it and starting to really taste it and buy and, be able to find things. And so it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of the fun of this also. Is the
yeah. Yep. You want to take some side by side, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're only allowed one party foul on the podcast.
Yeah.
We got out of the way.
Too bad I couldn't spill this one.
Yeah, you should have spilled out.
A dime a dozen over
I mean, now those are screw tops. Okay. A lot harder to spill a screw top.
Right,
but all right, we're taste testing these.
Which one are we trying first?
So. Try the 2023.
Okay.
The screw top.
The screw top.
Definitely smells spicier, I would say.
I think it is spicy, yeah.
Let's see if the color looks damn near the same.
Yeah. So drink all in one and drink the other, or
so you got,
take sips in between.
You got Dalton, Logan, and I acting like we know what we're doing. Jeff does know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But, Jeff, while we're trying these, what is it that you do for work? I think a lot of people probably know the name, but...
Well, we're a residential developer, subdivision developer, and build kind of higher-end custom homes. Not all custom, some spec homes. And
you say kinda? Kinda higher?
Kinda. Not the highest, but not the lowest.
How many homes on average do you build a year?
There's two stats there, because all of my houses take longer than a year to build, and some of them take multiple years to build. So I pull about somewhere around 80 to 100 permits a year, but I close probably somewhere around 50 houses. So between 38 and 50 usually most years. Mm-hmm. So I think I'll be pretty close to the 50 this year. I'm thinking. So, but. Like I say, some projects take 3 years, some take 2 years, so it's not always a linear equation.
Yeah. So you started working. So your dad was in the building space. When was it that you got into the building space?
When I was 5.
5? Early.
Yep. And he said, hey, if you're big enough to play with Legos, you can come out and pick up lumber on the job site. No, it was not quite that bad, but pretty close. But so it was a family business, right? We had no employees. We had not a lot of money. And so if we could save some money and make a little bit more money on the house by doing some of the work ourselves, that's what we did, right? Because that's how you build a business, right? Put the money back into the business. And so I worked, for most of my life in the company. When I was older, I branched out and did some different things, sold cars for a while, which is a very interesting and fun experience.
Very humbling experience for a lot of people.
Humbling, yes, it was tough, but I did it for about 3.5 years. And then I started my own home building company, and that was, really what I wanted, to have my own gig, And so that was great. I enjoyed that, but then the 2008 recession came, but it didn't come until about 2012 or so. But that was a pretty tough time. So, but we still are, that's still part of our companies, and so it's been good. But
I think it's funny that my dad's story is so similar, that when he talks about when he was a little kid, because his dad was in construction, and he tells me about, like, he'll tell Dre and I, he's like, when I was like young, he goes, when I was old enough to be at the job site, my dad took me out there and he goes, you're going to clean the job site, you're going to do all this stuff. And it was just like, now, if you went to a job site, you saw a 5-year-old out there, someone would probably, OSHA would be out there with
for sure.
a fine.
Child Protective Services out there, toughing them up. Yeah. Those days, that was nothing. But yeah, and I worked in the business most of my life. After college, I came back and worked there for several years. And
what did you go to college for?
Business administration. I got it. Well, I actually I was going to maybe take architecture, but I learned that I'm extremely bad at math. I count on my fingers a lot, so I'm thinking that's not the right play. So business was a little bit more open to, well, this can be the answer because I say it's the answer, but at least it's, you know what I mean? It's not exactly, it has to be precise in many cases. So, but then I went to KU and did that and had, very good deal.
Yeah. What are your thoughts down there?
Yeah, tell us, guys, what do you think?
I definitely like the older stuff better. It's a lot more smooth. I mean, it's not even comparable, really.
Yeah,
like it doesn't.
This is.
It doesn't even taste like the same whiskey.
We should have had Logan Zimbabwe off of the table.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was thinking about it. I'm not gonna lie. I was about to tell Dalton to get a cup so we could scoop it all in there.
Get a straw.
Yeah,
it is pretty crazy when we've been over at Jeff's house that. To be fair, I thought I knew a little bit about bourbon until I showed up to Jeff's house the first time. I figured out I didn't know a whole lot about bourbon, and his just overall knowledge of what he would pull out, crazy. But it's crazy how bad a lot of those corks are. That
cork is not a thing that lasts 60 years. 40, 50, 60 years. Corks are not. That's not the preferred probably material.
Yeah.
A lot of the times they use like the synthetic corks anyway nowadays.
These days now.
So
but really, if you ever have anything like this that has a cork, you just once or twice a year, just tip it on the side, just keep a little moisture in it. It will definitely preserve the life of the cork.
Isn't that why they keep wine on its side?
There's some other reason that
I don't know a whole lot about wine, so I don't want to be attacked.
You really don't want to keep it on the side.
Yeah,
you don't.
Yeah, you don't want the cork like always submerged.
Yeah.
So why is wine always like that?
There's some reason.
I don't know, man. Someone should look that up in the peanut gallery.
Dre, you got your phone over there in your hand.
So I do agree with, I think Dalton said it, the spiciness smell and a little taste from the 2023 one. You guys think that this one had more of that and it lost any over the years? Or do you think this is pretty similar to what it tastes like?
I think it's really similar to what it tasted like. Like I say, if you said I have a handmade desk that was handmade in 1967, think of in your mind what you'd think that desk would look like. And you say, I have a handmade desk.
Take 4 of us to move it.
Right? Yeah. And so it's just people took more care. People had more pride in what they did. And it wasn't a consumer good. It was a very niche thing. And not that many people drank it back, those days. And
how many barrels do you think they were making back then?
They made a lot. I don't know. I don't know the answers to it, but this was probably the biggest, of this kind of stuff. Stitzel-Weller.
Do you know the year that Stitzel-Weller sold? I don't know if they sold the Buffalo Trace originally.
But I think it was late 30s or early 40s is what I think when Mr. William LaRue Weller sold it to Julian Van Winkle and some guy named Stitzel. I think he was a money guy, you know, and so they called it Stitzel Weller. But that was the guy that ultimately called Pappy Van Winkle, although his grandkids named him that, Pappy Van Winkle. And it was his grandson that invented Pappy Van Winkle, that came up with it and started selling that brand or that stuff. So
yeah, it was pretty cool when we.
Wine is kept on its side because if the cork does dry out, it lets air in, which will actually make the wine taste different. So it keeps the taste. And for Logan, I looked up that bottle. You should have drank it off the table.
Yeah. Way to make Jeff feel bad, Dre.
I wouldn't have been mad. I was thinking, man, he got to it before I did. Damn it. I can't. It's really weird if I start drinking off the table in front of him.
I'm just glad I stopped it.
No, that's it was fine when Jeff and I were texting this week about coming on the podcast. He's like, "You want to do a tasting through time?"
And travel tasting.
It was pretty cool because when we go over at your house, this isn't even touching the surface of the collection and a lot of the stuff that's there. So it's an obsession,
kind of an obsession, I guess you would say. Maybe not a very healthy one, but
yeah. So when you were coming up, what would you say it's something that I've talked about a lot on the podcast because I know Dre and I struggle with it at points, but did you run into big obstacles and challenges working with your dad?
Yes. I mean, it's never face it, the relationship between a father and a son is complicated regardless of business. But then when you throw in there that it's business, right? And so, for most of my life, my father was the ultimate authority on pretty much everything that had to do with me and business and everything, And probably the biggest transition or the thing that's been hard, it's been hard, but it's also been really rewarding is the part where I get to make decisions, and I don't even I don't have to consult him. I don't, you know what I mean? And, but are they the perfect decisions? Sometimes I make the wrong one, and the part that is really cool is he realizes and understands that that's part of the process, right? You have to let somebody make a mistake because that's how you really learn, especially in the home building business. Is nobody's born really good at home building. You make every mistake that you can possibly make. And then you go, oh, I'm not going to do that again. And that's when you get good at it. Stop not making dumb mistakes because there's a lot of ways, to make a mistake in home building, and it's a costly mistake. $800,000 on red, let's go.
Which the funny thing is where I think a lot of times in business with family, you could say that like we were at a spot that our dad was the ultimate say. But it's also like the first time that we sat down at your house having cigars and bourbon. You speak very highly of your dad too, though. So
of course. And
a lot of times I think I can almost tell the relationship like further on because my dad and I butted heads a lot at a point, but now we have the best relationship we've had in most our whole lives. And I think same with Dre. And
it's exactly the same with me. We do have the best relationship, and we, one thing that we promised each other early on, especially when I came back and took this job, was we would never hold anything personal, right? Mm-hmm. Anything that's business is business, and it's not personal. Okay, so if whatever happens, and we have to make whatever decisions we have to make, it's not personal. It's a business decision. We work together in a business, and we don't, And so I can say things to him that I say, you know what, I get it. This is what you used to do. We're not going to do that anymore. And so here's why. And this is what we're going to do. And, he goes, okay, all right, I can accept that. And then he has criticism of me. Hey, you didn't handle this situation exactly right. You should have said this. You should have done this. You left money on the table over here, whatever. Okay. And I go, I don't take it personally. I don't want to be right. I want to be rich. Okay. I don't care about being right. Did I say that? I want to be successful, really successful. That's what I want. I want me to, because my father, this is our 50th year in business. Started in 1974. He built his first house in Kansas City. And so for him to hand this over to me and go, okay, dude, don't F it up. And plus I have 50 employees that depend on me that get up every morning and spend the greatest majority of their waking hours of their life working in our company. So I have lots of them have been with me 20 plus years. I've had one person who's been with us almost 35 years. So I take that very seriously. It's very important to me that I continue to, have the company and have it be successful so that I can provide for their families and their family. I've got one guy that trained me as a young project manager, and now his son works for me too, right? So it's just like our families are intertwined. His family has known nothing other, his kids have known nothing other than Don Julian Builders since they've been just, and what's that worth? These people aren't, I can't get to a situation where I just lay people off because business is slow. I'll get paid nothing. They people will have jobs. That can't happen. Some businesses, it's a numbers deal, but these people are my family. They give everything. They've dedicated their lives to doing what we do, and they work long hours and they do a lot of, they take a lot of crap from people and they, put up with it, but it's all family, So I take it really very, very seriously.
Which I think that's like the coolest thing about it is when I think second generations a lot of time come into business and they don't really, I want to say have the passion or they don't have that where you hold the value in those people that have been there for a long time. I know a lot of people around here that have a lot of money that second generation has taken something from a father and fired off all these people that have been there for a really long time that they make too much. I can get somebody cheaper. I can do this. And I'm like, I look at that as ultimate failure. Like, I don't care how much money you have.
Done was planned.
It's values in people.
You said it earlier tonight. It's the same thing, the people. They make the difference. They care. They're there. They've been there. They sacrifice everything to be there and to do this job. You're awake 10 hours and, 15 hours and you work 8 of it.
Yeah.
At
sometimes
a job.
we could be up to 20 if we drink enough.
Right.
So.
Yeah, well, that's true. And, but so, yeah, it is. The people make the difference. It's the people that do it, man. Sure, I could go out and replace a bunch of cheaper people, but they don't have the experience. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the dedication and years of loyalty that, and that's worth everything to me. I mean, that's more than I couldn't even do what I do if it wasn't for the people.
And I think that
it comes across in the end product too.
Yeah.
Just like you said earlier, like if you want a cheaper house, there's 1,000 corners that I could cut and you'd never even know. I could hire cheaper labor. I could use cheaper materials, but that's not who you are. It's apparent.
But I think that's cool too, that the mentorship too, where your dad's not as plugged in now, but still has those conversations, and you can hold a level head to say, hey, we can have this conversation to equal out to this. And that's where I seek out a lot of mentorship in a lot of different ways now that I know I'm not right all the time. And it's, we have leadership meetings every week that I go over things that I have no earthly idea if it's right. I come in with ideas all the time and they're like, not a good idea. And I'm like, explain to me why. And then they explain to me why. I'm like, yeah, that was a pretty shitty idea by me. But it's like, I think the people that just run and they're like, every idea I have is perfect. I'm never wrong. And it's like,
to me, the philosophy that if you ask me the one quality, the difference between somebody who's very successful in life and not, I think it boils down to one thing. Really, I mean, there's more than one thing, but one thing has to be there, okay? You have to be able to be wrong. You have to be able to say, I made a mistake and I'm not going to make that mistake again, right? The people who are always want to be right, the right fighters, no matter what you say, it's somebody else's fault. It's not me. I didn't mess it up. Those people, they know everything in the world and they can't learn anything else because they already know it all. It's all stacked up in their brain and you're just lucky to be in the room with them, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows those people. The valuable people to me are the ones that go, dude, man, I made a mistake. That is, to me, that's music to my ears from my people. I screwed this up. Great. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do, now you're going to learn. You're going to be better. You're never going to make this mistake again. You're going to learn from this mistake. And now you get better. Every time you do that, you get better and better and better. But the people who are just always right and never listen to anybody and don't, it's important to me. I go into the house and I ask the guy that's sweeping the floor, what do you think about this? You like these colors? You think this is too modern? Or what do you think? You like it? Is closet big enough? What, have you heard it? And then you'd be surprised what I hear. People say, oh, yeah, there was a lady in here with her 3 kids, and she said, if this pantry was bigger, she'd like the house, Anybody can come around and tell me my houses are great. That's wonderful. I love it. But when I hear a real criticism from a real buyer that says, this is what's wrong, I would buy this house except for this. To me, that's worth more than 100 real greats. Because I get nothing from that. It gives me a big head, and then I make dumb decisions, right? Thinking, I got it all figured out. Everybody for 2 weeks, tell me how great I am.
I will say that when we went to...
okay, so what's the next...
let's get the next one then.
Okay, let's do the Old Taylor. Let's see what you think about that. So this is, what did I say? Gosh, I have to... This one
they were putting...
that one was 93, I believe.
93, just
they
1993.
were putting twist tops on
Taylor.
before they were cool.
It was pretty cheap bottle, honestly, back then. Certainly not a very cheap one now, but it's pretty tasty.
Stuff's as old as me.
Yeah, Dalton's elderly. It's not as old as I'm younger than that bottle.
Barely.
Which one you carry?
Go for it.
And then, so this is the probably most entry level, if there is, of Colonel Taylor now. Colonel E.H. Taylor. They used to call it Old Taylor. Now they're trying to be distinguished. It's Colonel.
Yeah.
A Colonel. Before he's just an old man.
Yeah. KFC really hit it big with the
Right.
Colonels, so they thought they would adopt it. We got a storm of brewing tonight too.
That we do.
So we'll see if the tornado takes us out during this podcast.
Everybody grab one bottle of bourbon and just run.
Yeah. No, so what I thought was funny too is when we went into that Real Producers event, we went to that house and you had the seating area that's like that interior courtyard. I had seen that at a house. I thought that was the coolest thing. And you're like, I made that so if I want to smoke cigars or something. And then you're like, now all the moms love it to sit out there and drink coffee.
Yeah.
I was
thinking, my office is right there. I've got a bar right here for bourbon, and I'd walk, it's a triangle. Just make a rotation.
We go Old Taylor first?
Yep.
Where do we go?
Taylor?
New Taylor.
The Old Taylor or the Colonel?
The Colonel.
Taylor.
Old Taylor.
Uh-oh.
This one's hard because they're both really good.
They are both good.
This one, this stuff is widely known as just one step above kerosene. If it's a Weller that you can actually buy in the store for $38, you know it's not the best one.
Yeah.
So these are both.
So what would you say your favorite Weller is?
William LaRue Weller is my favorite.
Okay. If we were going without that one, if you were just going straight Weller bottles, which one are you picking?
So I like Full Proof is probably one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
For the money. There's other ones like CYPB that's $400, but the a Weller Full Proof's like $150 or something, so it's not terrible.
Yeah.
And
Where you find Full Proof at for $150?
my places.
I need to find.
I got you. I got a few of them if you need one.
Yeah. No. So I like the Full Proof a lot. My favorite of all of them that I think I can really tell a difference is the single barrel, the orange.
It's a great one, but again, it's
still $500.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
How many of those you want to just pound down? Maybe one, but other than that.
I don't think I'm doing one.
What do you think, Dan? You tried them both yet?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's kind of a tough one. I do think the last one was definitely very, very clear.
But
I'm a much bigger fan of just like the Colonel Taylor just now. Like I feel like that bottle on market for I'm secondary for what $100.
Yeah,
pretty much like normally, and then retail or I don't even know what it costs at MSRP.
$60-$80, something like that. Yeah.
I think that bottle for a $60 to $100 bottle is probably among a top 5 player.
So the part that I can tell the difference is in the finish or the aftertaste, right?
Yeah.
So this one will have still kind of a woody, just
Which one's that one?
kind of the Colonel Taylor will have kind of a stronger aftertaste. And then this one, the older one, will have kind of a sweet kind of candy.
Yeah.
I think with both of them, the older one's just a little more smooth and mellow.
So a little smooth
overall.
and but just
Less spices.
Does it just mellow out over time? I feel like it's almost like it just kind of mellows out.
that
Guess
plus,
we'll see if it continues down the line like that.
I think it happens the same thing with people.
Maybe.
I get the
5 years ago, I was way more high strung than I am now. I've definitely mellowed out. I'm like getting to be like fine bourbon.
But you know, of course, I had to keep the drinks flowing. But back to your point, though, I really think that you know, the ability to be wrong, because then you can learn and you can listen and you can grow. Right? You can get better every day. You can get better because you can always learn something. You can always grow.
We also both came from, and Logan Dalton, you can speak on behalf of this too. I think we both came from fathers too. That it's funny in the last. Probably like 6 months ago, 4 months ago, I had a new guy come on, and he after a few meetings, he's like, he goes, dude, you never tell anyone good job. And I was like, that's just not how I was raised. Like, my dad always told me I could do it better. Like, if I did something to the best of my ability, my dad picked apart the things I did wrong, and you need to learn from it, and you need to do it better next time. And it's like, I haven't met your dad, but I'm assuming he's very
exactly the same.
But it's like, I feel like when you get that mentality of you just run and operate that way, I can do something to the best of my ability and I could knock out of the park what I feel. But when I look back at it myself, I look at the things I did wrong and what I need to fix to do it better next time. Right. It's just like
when you said that, I just got nervous. I can just imagine him sitting somewhere and somebody says, just getting drunk, smoke cigars. He's like, you know, Jeff, we shouldn't be doing that on TV. I was like,
it's YouTube. But I think that's a good characteristic. And it was something that when I was younger, I struggled with it. But as I've grown older, I've seen how valuable that is. And that for a long time, I did it just trying to impress my dad. And as I progressed forward, I started doing it to impress myself and what it took to it's when I went to college, I had probably a year to 2 years. I had a pretty big kind of falling out or kind of derailed for a while.
Been there.
I lost track of what it was. It was the first time my dad didn't have his hand on my life. And it was the first time I felt free and I could do whatever I want. And I went way too far. But then it was after that I started looking to myself to prove it to myself of what I could do. And it was like my whole entire world changed really quick. So I think that just kind of instilled factor that winning is always out there and that there's always a next level to go to. It's like no matter what age we're at, we can keep pressing forward.
And the cool thing about it is isn't that what a dad's real job is, to make you tough and to hold you to a high standard so that when you go out, you then hold yourself to the same high standards that you are able to, withstand the pressures and the forces that every man has to do. Provide for your family, you know what I mean? And,
I feel like so much of that's getting lost nowadays with, new parenting styles and like younger people coming into the workforce and, needing to be told good job every, little task that is completed. It's like, no, that's what is expected to be done. It's not good jobs and praises. There is a time and a place for that, but it's meant for when you go like truly above and beyond and you surpass the expectations. Yeah. It's not just when you're doing your job. That's what you're paid a salary for. That's your good job.
Well, here's the good news. So all you got to do is just be a better parent than that. And your kids are going to be head and shoulders around the crowds, you know? I mean, that's the sad part about it.
As we
show
progress,
up and do what you say you're going to do, you're better than a lot of the people out there.
I feel like right now it's easier to win than ever before. Like, I mean, we see it in the marketing space all day, every day. The competition level is getting worse and worse and worse and weaker and weaker and weaker. And it's that I look at it as like back in, your time growing up, like my dad's time growing up, things like that, like the competition level is much higher. The amount of like just go-getters that like I saw my dad around was I
knew your dad. I know your dad. And he was around some very, very, very smart people. He was one of them. Those guys, they assembled a group of just amazing people that just kicked ass. I mean,
which I watched.
Those guys are still doing it to this day. I mean,
and I see
ballers.
I saw like all those guys just like this winning mentality like around them, and I saw this just like aura that it was losing was never an option. Like if you went in my dad's office, like
because
there was no
truly
way.
wasn't an option. Like no one accepted it. Now it's like, there's a million excuses for a million things. It's like you don't want to, work hard. You can just choose to be lazy.
Yeah.
You don't want to try to go find a better job or provide for your family. You can take the easy way out.
Yeah.
It's like it's socially acceptable now to not be a winner.
Participation.
I think it's almost frowned upon now. Like I think now it's starting to get to a spot that people look down on successful people. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like you're a bad person now if you're successful. If you have money, you're a bad person. And
you're
tornado can come through the garage.
Might be.
And you're arrogant and cocky if you talk about your success, right?
And it's like
you're being too flashy.
Speaking of like success, being nice to people, telling people good jobs. Have you guys heard of Enron, the corporation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge scandal, obviously, but I was watching something about them the other day, and they rate they used to rate because they're not around anymore. Used to rate all their employees 1 to 5, 1 being the best, 5 being the worst. What they didn't tell people was like 10% of people had to be a 5, and they were getting fired. So that was just like their way to motivate people to do better, to work harder.
Yeah,
they're like, I mean, there was people working there 18 hours a day just because they didn't want to be a 5. They didn't want to get fired.
Yeah,
just
it's. I don't know. I also feel like it's a competitive spirit. I feel like when you put competitors around competitors, like I always talk about, it's like getting in the arena. Like I look at it as like what humans deal with today, what humans classify as stress today, is something that humans 200 years ago didn't even think about.
The stress that we have today, we created. All of it.
Yeah.
And
every bit of it.
People, I'm going to say probably like, now there's definitely people that have hard scenarios, but you look at a lot of people's problems, most of them aren't real problems. Somebody that lost a significant other, lost a child, that's a real fucking problem. Right. And I literally have somebody I was sitting in my office and we were talking finances and I was like, your positivity level all the time.
Bless you.
Thank you. He's like, just off the chart. He goes, and he explained to me the things that he had to go through to that point. And he's like, everything I have is a gift. Everything that is here he goes, I'm so thankful for it. And I'm like, I feel like a lot of times it's just a lens. Like when I get up and I go to work in the morning, I'm like in the truck, I'm hyped, I'm pumped. And I'm
watch
like,
it every day.
I got the opportunity to go win.
Before I even talk to any of my people, I'm watching, good morning, heading into work Wednesday. I'm like, he's not. Okay, what? Hang on.
But it's like I'm hyped for it. I'm like excited. I'm excited to go out. Like I love the people I work with every day. I love the
dude. And even wait a minute, I even got one other thing to say. The day after, you drank more than reasonable people should drink of bourbon that costs more than any reasonable person should spend.
Yeah,
and it was kind of late. The next morning, I was like, I don't know. That's either the best act ever. Or he's one of us.
But that's where I look at is, so Mass and I have like one rule. Like she has no problem me drinking bourbon, doing everything like that. But when we wake up tomorrow, 5:30, our alarms go off. We get up together, get your ass to the gym. And you know how many mornings I roll a gym at 5:45? I'm like, oh my God, my head. Oh, this sucks. And I will go, I'll get on the treadmill, I'll start running, I'll lift, I'll go sit in the sauna, I sweat it out. I come home, I take a cold shower, I get ready, and then all of a sudden I'm ready to roll. And it's like, I'll roll in it. No one knows I smoked cigars and drank bourbon all night. But it's just like, I look at that as, I don't look at there's a lot of people that have drinking problems that it messes up the rest of their life. If I can have drinks and I can have cigars and still stay dialed in on everything I do work-wise, I don't see it being a problem.
Guys, like me, there's no choice. Yeah. It's not like I can say I'm sick today, but I don't get it. Even if I'm sick, I got to make decisions. I got people that have questions. I have buyers that, have important things that need to be, worked on. So I can say I'm sick today, but I can't say I'm taking a sick day. I'm in Florida. I'm in wherever. My phone's ringing. I'm taking calls just like wherever. You know, and I tell people, you know, even on the golf course, sometimes I'll say, man, if this is a big deal, I can get my own golf cart, but you know, it's a work day for me. And I can having fun, play golf. It'd probably only be 2, 3, 4 calls, you know. But if one of 3 or 4 people call me, everybody else I'll send a, you know, Noville. But you know, one of 3 or 4 people. My father called me. I'm taking the call. I don't care where I am, what I'm doing. I'm going to answer his call, right? Yeah. And most of the time he's like, how do you turn on the printer? I'm like, no, you first see the button.
So, you know, the wildest thing is we make fun of our dad.
He can never see this video. You guys got to promise me. This is like blackmail shit. You guys are going to like, hey,
so the funniest thing is,
sign up, I'm going to send this to your phone.
our dad is, I tell my dad, I mess with him all the time. I was like, I don't know how you've been as successful as you've been in your life, because, and I actually do know why. And I figured it out in business pretty quick. My dad, when he types an email, he still uses 2 fingers, and he gets himself crossed up. And I'm like, I literally sit at his desk. I'm like, I go, this is the wildest shit I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, you've made millions of dollars in a year, and you can't even type it, use a keyboard correctly. But his deal, he is not scared. If somebody texts him, I'll text him something, and you sure as shit, if I text him asking a question or something like that, he's calling me. They just pick up the phone. He lived on the phone.
Not afraid of the phone.
Yeah. Face to face. This new generation, people are terrified of the phone. And you'd be amazed at how many business owners that we have that are 45 plus years of age, 50 years plus age. And when they call me and I answer, they're like, I didn't think you would answer. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, most people your age don't answer the phone. I was like, sounds crazy, but.
Okay, so what about old granddad? So this is gosh, you guys know better than me. What did I say, 90? Or this was the 01. This was the 01. Old granddad, pretty low, probably shelf price in 01, right? But
what do you think that's worth now? Oh, you probably know you bought
it. It's actually probably about, I'm going to say maybe like a $300. From 2000s, it's probably $275, maybe $300 on the secondary market. I don't know. I'm not super dialed in on old granddad, so there's probably somebody out there going, dipshit, there's more than 175 of those. So I don't know. I don't do a lot of old granddad, but so let's go with the. So this is their new release, 16-year. Everybody's talking about it.
I've heard a lot of mixed reviews, so I'm pretty excited.
$350 to $400 on the secondary market, right?
So I saw one.
A lot of people are saying that, and the idea, if you can see, it's old school label. So the idea was they're going back to the old school because this stuff is legendary. This cheap stuff, you know, it's legendary. Everybody loves it because it's not super expensive, but it's really, really good, right? Because it's old granddad. Nobody goes, oh, Peppy Van Granddad, you know, whatever. Yeah. So. But it's really good. So the people who really like bourbon, that know bourbon, that don't want to buy the hyped up Buffalo Trace stuff, drink this stuff because it's really good, the older stuff.
So that's I actually, Madison called me and she was at a liquor store and they had that. How much? I want to say it was 110.
What? Really?
What's that? Oh, that one?
I feel like the girl at Hy-Vee told me they wanted 200 for it the other day.
So they're trying to sell it for, like, some places are marking up at almost secondary out the gate. And I think Dre sent it to me too. He saw it. And my thing was on a lot of the bourbon pages online, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews that people are like, so they've tried to say that the 114, that 114 old granddad is.
So I don't want to influence anybody's opinion. So I won't tell anybody what I think. But I greatly anticipated this bottle. As soon as it came out, as soon as I could find one that wasn't just barn burner price, got one. Because I love this old school stuff. It's just really good. So I thought, oh man, this is back to the roots. They supposedly like recreated what it tastes like in the old days. Used to be a company called National Distilling Company. Now I can't remember, somebody owns it. Some other.
I'll tell you, the old one looks a little darker.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it?
I don't know if I want to start the old one or the new one.
Old or new first on this.
Yeah.
So they're both 100 proof, right?
Yep.
Both exactly 100 proof. That's why I chose this one. I got some other ones, but thought that would be a good comparison.
You want a new one first? All right.
Okay.
I like that.
I know. I feel like I should have bought that bottle now.
I like that a lot.
That's good.
I don't know what people were
Like a-
dogging
like
about
a-
it on.
I don't usually get these notes, but like maybe like a caramel.
It's caramel.
Caramel.
So I got like a caramel from the Old Taylor. I thought I was going to sound stupid saying it, but now that
I'm
Dalton
not
said it,
good
I'll
at
say it.
that. I like
I'm not
I
great
like
at it
it or I
either.
love it.
I know it's funny when I was doing bourbon reviews. People were like, "You don't know that much about bourbon." I'm like, "You're right." I'm like, "I don't." I'm like,
It
"I either
tastes
like
good or
it or I
doesn't.
don't."
I literally heard a guy say hints of honeysuckle. I'm like, when have you?
Yeah,
What
well,
is a
I wouldn't-
honeysuckle?
how
I wouldn't
often
even
do
know.
you eat
What is a
honeysuckle?
I wouldn't even know what that tastes like.
honeysuckle out from 15 different
I mean-
flavors. Okay, good for you, bro.
Bullshit.
Yeah,
They're
right?
both- they're both
What is a
good, though.
honeysuckle? Show me one. Can you Google it or something?
Yeah.
They're both good. I like them both. So I think that this Old Granddad in the tall bottle is better than the stuff that they sell now, like the
It
100
is
bonded.
better.
Wow.
Yeah. So honestly, guys,
That old one?
I'm not a big fan of this one.
No, I
To
kind
me,
of
it
like
has
it.
a twang. It's got
A little bit.
in
something.
the finish of it, the aftertaste.
Yeah.
Because for me, all of it's kind of strong going down. The first sip is always, you don't really taste the flavors. So take one sip to get kind of used to the proof or whatever. Then the next sip, I can kind of taste the flavors. But for me, it's the aftertaste. When it's down and
It
just
lingers.
taste in your mouth, what is the taste?
It lingers
Does
a
it
lot,
go?
though.
Does it make it go? You know, that gives me. I got a little twang for that. So I don't hate it. It's not like it's awful or anything, but it's just not my favorite.
Sure.
The aftertaste part is what I don't like.
You also have a lot of really good stuff to stack up against.
Yeah, that's like
true.
it's
I have a pretty
relative.
high bar, but some stuff I am one of the people who 100% agree with you that this is better than that. I would rather drink that than that. And that's $350 and that's $29.
I will say that I don't want to
I
let
like
out
that
our
better.
bourbon secret here, but that Old Granddad 114
I like it better.
under a $50 bottle, I don't think you beat.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what I don't even know what
I've
I
never
compete
had it
with.
before. Tonight, it's the first time I ever had it.
Yeah.
And it's really, I like it. I mean, wouldn't be like something I'd drink every day, but
Yeah.
if you say which one, if they were the same price.
I mean, I
of
would drink
course-
this over
Of course,
both
I'd
of
much
that.
rather
That's a
drink this one because
solid
it's
point.
way more expensive.
Which I think that's a lot of what the bourbon game has turned into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times if you did a blind taste test on a lot of stuff of what you liked, I think you could take stuff from that. That's like that Senator I brought you. It's not the most expensive bottle, but
No.
everyone I've had try it, they're like, they don't know what it is, and most of the time they're like, "Oh, that's an expensive bottle." I'm like, actually, it's not, but it's just like you get so adjusted to that, like you said, that the people that are buying all that high end Buffalo Trace side, that Old Granddad.
Just so that for me, that's where I really judge it on is just what's the aftertaste, right? When it's down and you just feel that flavor in your mouth. I like it to be smooth and not a bitey, and not something that just kind of makes me pull up my
The bonded super smooth. Super smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think nowadays you can buy that for like $19.99 at places sometimes. The bonded Old Granddad.
Oh,
Tall
like this.
bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's really good stuff. I think that's a very tasty bottle.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about you picking up your golf game this year.
Uh-oh.
What made you pick up golf this year?
Well, it kind of started off as, I just thought in business, I get invited to golf trips. I get invited to golf games at high-end places, different vendors or different clients or people. And I've just never really taken the time to play. I played in a scramble or two, here and there. I just never really took the time to really learn it, and so I felt like I'm missing out. All my friends play and everybody plays, and it's just a lot of fun. And I know they go on trips together and have a blast. And so I'm just like, okay, so all I wanted to do was just take a few lessons and just be able to not look like a dummy out there on the course, right? Know how the score works and, know how to hit it, and I don't go digging for it in the woods for 3 hours or whatever. And so I started, and I didn't realize that I would become obsessed. I mean, you might go, well, Jeff, I mean, you're obsessed over thumbtacks, okay? And you have the biggest collection of thumbtacks of anybody in whatever. So it probably wasn't a big far stretch, but of course, same as my nature. I love it. I probably played close to 50 rounds this summer. So
Yeah. When we went out to,
and again, my father can't see this. It's like, there's not enough Saturdays to play 50 rounds.
Yeah, when we first time, Brock, Jeff, and I went out, and I think there was another Jeff there too, as a fourth. He's like, "You want to go out to the National this Thursday?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, I had a meeting, so I was like, I can play 9 holes, and we had been at your house probably 2 weeks before that, and Jeff was like, "Yeah, I just picked up golf," and I'm like, I know a lot of people just picked up golf. I'm like, this is gonna be a rough round. And I'm like, at the National too. I'm like sitting there, I'm like,
that seemed like a good idea. I've been playing golf for 3 weeks. Let's join the National.
Yeah.
So sounds great. Typical, right?
Yeah. I was actually thoroughly impressed. And like, I don't hit it real far, but hitting a golf ball straighter, I think is more of an accomplishment than hitting a golf ball far.
I just don't want to, walk around looking for them and being in the woods and ticks.
Yeah.
So
the funny thing too is Brock hadn't golfed with me either. I told Brock, I'm like, bro, I'm not that great. So I go out with them. Somehow I'm like 9-hole, damn near scratch golfer. And Brock's like,
great.
You were full of shit. I'm like,
that's what I
that
said,
doesn't
too.
happen all the
That's
time.
what
I was
said,
like,
too.
that
Okay.
was off the wall.
Not very good. All right. Okay.
I was like, doesn't happen every day. But a lot of times I actually play better when I'm playing with guys that don't. I'm not saying Brock hits the ball far. But I'm saying when I'm playing with guys that don't hit real far, it's actually I end up I'm not over swinging.
Yeah.
I actually play a much better game of golf. And so I go down to the Villages every year with Madison's dad for a week, and we golf every single morning. So we do 18 in the morning, then we do 9 every evening after dinner.
That's paradise.
It's phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
But the crazy
Sign
thing is,
me up immediately.
after 7 days, I am damn near a scratch golfer. Like,
I mean, it's because
the tempo's right, everything.
There's no substitute for actually on the course because you can be at the range all you want. You're not replicating the successful hit on the range is you hit it and it goes far, right? You're not, but of course, if you really want to get good, you start aiming, of course. But but really the different conditions. The lie is bad. It's above your feet. It's below your feet. You're on a hill. Whatever. It's wet. Your hands are wet. I mean, that's where you really can
create a range that has like different
spray
like,
water on.
You have like three boxes that are sand. You have like 3 boxes that the ball lies above you. Like 3 boxes the ball lies like beneath you. Like because those are actually my most difficult shots. Is most of the time I can be dialed in and I get to a spot that the ball's lying. I mean, we're on a slope or something, ball's downhill. And especially when you get on a lot of these really high-end courses, I mean, they have the terrain, they have all that because the aesthetic of the course looks that way. And it's like, so they build these courses that just aesthetically look off the chart. Then all of a sudden, ball's below you, and you're like, you just smoke it, and you're how far right? And you're like, well, okay, that didn't account for that.
And also on the range, if you're 20 yards right of target, it still looks like a good shot.
Right? You're still like,
if you're 20 yards right of target on the green, you're in the woods.
It's in a lake. You're not gonna,
The margin for error on the course is much, much different.
Yeah. I will say, if anybody is listening to this, I mean, there may be nobody listening to this. Who knows? It could just be Jeff's dad. So if anybody's listening to this and you're into business and you want a way to network with people, pick up golf. Get on a golf course.
Prepare to be obsessed, though.
It is by far. I never realized everybody loves golf. You get 4 hours with somebody going through adversity, struggling. Even if you're Rory McIlroy, you get your freaking ball behind a tree sometimes. You can't hit it out, right? Nobody has a great day every day.
So the funny thing is, I learned so much about people when I golf with them.
Absolutely.
And it's funny, the person I've actually seen come probably the furthest is Logan. When Logan first started working at MMG, when he would go to a course and he fell apart, I don't think I've ever seen somebody fall apart so bad on a golf course.
Yeah.
Because Logan is a good golfer.
Right.
But when he crumbled on the golf course, it was just like it went south. But now he's like at a spot that I golf with him a lot, and like he falls apart and he picks himself right back up. That he'll have a bad hole, but then the next hole, like once you see that people can start doing that in their head,
that's the key, right? I mean,
it's
really,
90% of it's the 4 inches between your brain.
I can't remember who it is. Somebody famous, maybe what's his name, Ben Hogan, whatever, said golf is the only game where your primary opponent is yourself. Right?
Oh, 100%.
You know, everybody that I play with, nobody cares what your score is. There's zero.
You versus you.
You know, I mean, and I played with guys out there that hit 4 balls off the tee and then knock it in and go bogey. And you're like,
all right,
I get it. And do you, bro? I don't care. It's not me. It's not me holding you accountable. You know, I'm the weird guy that counts every. You know, I give myself one breakfast ball on the front 9 and one dinner ball on the back 9, and that's it. That's it. Everything.
I'm gonna
else
start
counting.
taking dinner balls.
Yeah,
I like
I
dinner
think
balls.
I've heard that.
I haven't been at the dinner ball. But, you know.
Heard it here first. No, but I think it's something that it's a good thing for people to do. One, to compete with themselves, and two, I'll never say I'm like the best golfer out on the course ever. I've always been able to just compete on the golf course. I've been able to hold my own, and I've golfed with dealership owners in Scottsdale and Orlando, all over the place as I got in the car business. And I would go out there. And the other thing too that I'll tell a lot of people when you get into golf, don't try to like sell people when you're on the golf course. Network with people while you're on the golf course. When you network with people on the golf course, like it's the best time, and it's understand how to keep your composure, understand that people are watching you when you're there. And it's just like, that's where, when you were out there, like Jeff was having the best time out of all of us, and he's new to golf and he's hitting it shorter and he's just working his way down. And I was like, I was in the car with Brock and I was like, I'm very impressed with how Jeff picked up golf this year. One, his skill level, but also not one time did he ever even get frustrated.
I mean, what's the point? I mean, you know, it's just like, it's just a game, right? And it's not that I don't get frustrated, but I use that to motivate me. I'll go, okay, so yeah, I had a bad game, but what can I do? What can I do to get better at it? What's my next steps? Because to me, it's ultimate. It's kind of it's comparable to life, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody's born good at golf. You go out there, you hit the ball, you find out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you need to work on. You know,
everyone needs to work on putting.
Yeah, right. If you're obsessive compulsive like me,
the second you think you're good at putting, you're not.
Listen. And the worst thing you can say is, "I figured it out. I finally figured it out. I cracked the code.
Yeah.
I know the way forward. I'm going to be in the 80s in mere days." You know, because I just learned this one thing: if you turn your hand like this and you do it, and keep your elbow like this, that's it. And then as soon as you say it, then you're garbage.
Let's see how you feel on the 10th tee box.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
but it's the ultimate. It's humility too. You know, no matter how much of a badass you are in the world, when you're out there, get over here and it's a man with a stick and a ball, and that's all it is. And you can have a $1,000 one, or you can have a $200 one, or a $50 one. If you're good at golf, you can kick somebody's ass with a $1,000 one. It doesn't matter.
I keep trying to buy nicer golf clubs, and it still hasn't helped my game.
What I figure it is, it's like half a point per $1,000. So yeah, you know, I figure if $100,000 more worth of stuff, I'll be shooting 99 in no time.
Yeah. So it's funny. The first time Ben's sitting here watching. The first time we went out with Ben, I remember Logan's like, yeah, Ben's pretty decent. And we hit the first tee box, and I think Logan and I outdrive Ben, and Ben was off the box a little rough. And he's like, he gets to the green, and when we're up at the clubhouse, he's like, drive for show, putt for dough.
That's true.
And I was like, whatever, bro. I was like, and then all of a sudden, Ben hits the green and like putts, like one putting, like one after another. I'm like, this dude's lights out on the green. Yeah. I was like, this is wild. I'm
half the shots are on the green.
Then after
40% of the shots are on the green.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go into the final, I brought this one. It's just a kind of a interesting shooter, right? Airplane bottle, Old Stags in 1955. Old Stag, right? See, yeah, right. They did, yes, and you got dressed up in your Sunday best to get on the plane. So we'll just do just a little bit, just a taster to see if they knew what they were doing in 1955. Imagine they were probably okay at it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's true.
I think we were
That's
born in
the
the
cool
wrong
part.
time frame. I was watching Mad Men, and those guys just sitting in their office drinking bourbon at noon, smoking cigarettes. I'm like, man, we really missed the mark.
Put that on your, fill it full of tea
So-
and stick it up there. And go. I've been saving this. My grandfather carried this. Remember that? What was that? Pulp Fiction or something where he said, "My grandfather carried this watch."
Yeah, the seal on top.
Yeah.
How is it?
It's okay. I mean,
I feel like
not,
it's pretty low proof.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot to it.
It
Yeah.
was. It wasn't probably. It was probably pretty low dollar, low proof, low. So this wasn't even Stitzel Weller. This was probably before Stitzel Weller. This was. Might have been Stitzel Weller. It probably was. Anyway, we called it George T. Stagg Distilling Company.
George T. Stagg Distilling Company. It's 86 proof.
Yeah, 86.
Might be the lowest.
Yeah, so it's watered down, but I mean, it's what you got on the airplane. They don't exactly have the,
Yeah, bottled by the George T. Stagg Company, Bardstown, Kentucky. Hey,
Like I say, it's a novelty.
It's a 1/10 pint.
It's a novelty. It's not anything, crazy.
1/10 of a
So
pint.
speaking of expensive stuff that's not worth it, what do you think of the Cohiba? Like how I segued into that one.
This is a good
It's
cigar.
a really good cigar. Very,
This one's not bad.
Yeah.
yeah,
I like this
good.
one.
Those are great. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured out one, I can't take Jeff bourbon that competes in his collection at all, and two, I can't take
No
cigars
cigars
that
either.
compete in
You
his
brought
collection.
these like
I got issues. I have more issues than Newsweek.
Yeah, for Jeff. So the first time I went over there, Jeff's thing he told me was he goes, my normal drinker, probably most common would be Eagle Rare. So I was like, okay. So I remember that from the first time. And I knew the cigar side. So for his birthday, I couldn't make it to his birthday party. So I brought over a bottle of Eagle Rare. I put it on his porch. I got him a new lighter and some cigars. The cigars were the nicest ones that Outlaw had.
Oh, no,
So
great cigar. by
they
the
could
way. No.
possibly still be in
No.
his humidor.
Well, here's one thing about cigars that I don't think a lot of people know. Okay. So whether they're in a cigar store or wherever you buy cigars, they're probably not very properly humidified. There's ammonia. Okay. In tobacco, there's ammonia, right? I've heard a friend of mine told me that he's been to Cuba and you walk into one of those barns where they're drying the tobacco leaves and it's just overpowers you. You can't even hardly stand it in there, right? So once a cigar is made, right, and they age it and they ferment it and there's processes that they go through. I could give a whole podcast on the difference between Cuban cigars and what we call not NCs, not Cubans, non-Cubans, right?
Give me a 5-minute lesson on it.
I don't know about 5 minutes, but well, first of all, Cubans invented cigars. They were the inventors of cigars, right? And due to the fact that Cuba is
Dalton invented the slice in golf.
nice,
Yeah.
right? Well, I've used your
I
invention.
perfected
I
it.
use your invention
Yeah.
on a daily
I mean,
basis,
I
my
perfected
friend.
it, just
Yes,
passed it on
right?
to everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really the thing about it is it's a kind of a crazy situation because everywhere else in the world, it's commercialized, right? They try to take something that's good and they try to do as much of it as they can for the cheapest prices they can. And the people, the owners of the businesses scale the businesses because they go, well, first of all, if we want to turn this into $1 billion company, we can't have 35 old men rolling cigars in a room, sitting on hard chairs with no air conditioning. Okay, we need a factory, and we need a machine that does it, and blah 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 blah. Right? In Cuba, nobody has any incentive to do it cheaper, faster, build more of them. There's no incentive because the government owns all the businesses, and so these guys, they just do what they do, and they do it the way that their fathers did it, their grandfathers did it, that taught them. There's no incentive to commercialize it and turn it into a money-making machine, right? The government makes it into a money-making machine, but They do that by jacking the prices through the roof. But the people that work in the factories, they have no incentive. They go, oh, if I make 350 more cigars today than I made yesterday, I'm going to get a bonus. No, you don't get anything. You get $12 a week, and and
that's the same thing I paid Dre, actually.
Right, yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Well,
but anyway,
cheap labor.
So that's why the traditions have endured. The way that they do it has endured. It's because nobody has any incentive to do it faster or do it cheaper or do it anything because there's no money in it. They don't get paid anything, right? So a guy that runs that works at the bank makes the same as the guy that whatever, which is basically nothing.
You know what there is a lot of money in? Than making bourbon.
No, that's true. And again, this is the reason why this is better than this, right? It's because, and we haven't tasted this one yet, but it's because these people
took
more care. They spent more time. Julian Van Winkle, the guy that invented most of this stuff, his motto was this, and this is what I love because this is how I feel about building houses, right?
Julian Van Winkle?
Julian Van Winkle, the guy that was the brain.
I think there's something that
behind. Yeah, I get it. Julian is. I know it's a magic. Right. Right. That was his name, though. Okay. His motto was this: always find bourbon at a profit if we can, at a loss if we must, but always find bourbon. Right. That's the most important thing. The product. We make it. If people buy it, if we make money, that's great. If we don't, we hold ourselves to the same standard.
You know how we're trying to get your one-page liner?
Yeah.
The houses.
Fine houses. At a profit. I'm not going to say at a profit if we can.
At a profit if we can. No. Loss if we must. But we always find houses.
Negative. How about always find houses? If you don't want to buy them, don't buy them.
I do remember that exact saying from the tour at Stitzelwell.
Right.
The guy said that to us. And I thought that is such a good.
But here's the thing is, so many businesses and so many things are the most profit. Make the most profit at the lowest cost and sell it to the most amount of people. But, could I build 150 houses a year? Yeah, I probably could. If I just said, hey, I don't care, and I'm just going to hire a bunch of, kids to run these jobs and treat it like a commodity, could I build more houses? I probably could, but that's not my model. My model is build it the best way we can, take care of the people, treat them right, treat them like you would want to be treated if you were buying something from somebody for $1 million, give or take, right? What level of communication do you expect? What level of customer service do you expect? How do you expect to be treated? You can do something for $1 million or something. We beat people up over a freaking $20,000 car. There's a scratch over here. What the hell's wrong with you people, But $1 million, what do you expect, right? So somebody that treats people that way and takes it seriously, and it's a craft. It's a doing something that enriches people's lives, that makes their lives better. It's not a drain. Have you ever known anybody that had a house that was just a piece of crap? It's falling apart and they're spending money every 5 minutes. Wouldn't they wish that they could go back and spend an extra 30, 40 grand and have the house be built right with the right stuff and people that will come back and work on it?
People do that, though, in every aspect of life. That we were talking about when we were having dinner before, that the people that chase the cheapest avenue, you're going to buy multiple times. And you're going to take the cheapest route in the beginning, and then you're going to end up finding a more expensive route in the future to get the product that you're looking for. To where if you want the cheapest route, and whatever it may be, like we would have people on vehicles all the time in the car space. Well, this person has one that's $500 less. I'm like, I have a $1,500 service ticket on it. I was like, and then they go buy this one, and then they're coming up, they're like, it's got this problem, this problem, this problem. Can you help me out with it? Because we know these people. And I'm like, you didn't buy the vehicle here. I was like, you can put it in service. It's going to be full price in service. And they're like, you're not going to help me out on it? I'm like, you didn't buy the car here. You went to go save $500. Our car hit the streets ready to go. That person didn't have to go spend $1,500, $2,000 to get their car fixed right after they bought it. And it's like, if you want the cheapest in automobile, you can find cheaper. If you want the cheapest in houses, you can find cheaper. Whatever it may be. You want cheaper in marketing, you can find cheaper marketing. Yeah. I tell people all day. Great things aren't cheap, and cheap things aren't great.
Nobody says, hey, man, check out my brand new cool Timex. You're going to love it, dude. It glows in the dark, man. You're going to freak out when you see this.
My watch does glow in the dark.
Luminox, mine does too, but check out this Luminox, bro. Okay, so let's do the
Don't spill that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever
I think
you do.
that one's a screw top. So
That
we're
is a screw
we're
top.
good.
It is a screw top. Yeah, it wasn't a super expensive bottle. Back in those days, this was kind of the lower end brand. Old Fitzgerald was the high line of the stuff, right? And so here we go. Where's the
That one?
Right here.
Right here. So that's the 2023 version, Old Weller Antique, they call it. This was called Old Weller Original. So if you see it online, it's the OWA
So I think
versus the OWO.
I think $100 bottle, to me, I'd probably rank that my number one bottle.
It's actually a great bottle. So this is another one where it's a little bit harder. The nuances are probably, which I've left.
Either or.
The nuances are a little bit tougher, but
All good.
my track record is not great.
We got a lot of shit on the table.
Xavier, fix
this,
that, please.
Yeah, this could be the most packed this table has been on a podcast. You guys might not be able to see us.
Someone's in their car that just happened. They're like, whoa. You just got hit.
Did I just get ruined?
Okay. So this, I would probably say of all the bottles that I have, this is probably right up there. I would call it as good as anything.
Give a little bit to everyone except for Dalton.
It's not fair. Yeah, I'm gonna be knocking on his door. Hey, buddy, can I try some of that?
Gotta get that bourbon.
Fiending.
What was it?
What about one more of those cigars?
I'm like, dude, the fact that he wants to drink and smoke cigars at 8 o'clock in the morning, he's my guy. Come on in. Let's go downstairs. What do you want?
We should go golf too.
Let's try this. Here's the other cigars. Light it up.
Which one we going with first?
It's up to you.
I'd
Whatever
say
you
the
think.
old. I think
The
we all-
Old?
we all know what the
Okay.
dude
Everyone's
tastes
hyped for it.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you for bringing
Yes,
all
thank
this.
you.
like. Thank you, Jeff.
1960 is when this was.
1960.
That's the year my dad was born.
Wow.
It's good.
That's a pour.
Definitely doesn't have the super smoothness like the other ones, but I don't mind that.
It's a little bit higher proof, 107. So
But it's still
you
pretty
could-
smooth on the back end,
It
though,
is.
right?
Yeah.
Like amazing flavor.
again,
Just sitting
for me, the aftertaste is really kind of the kicker for me.
I feel like that's just a very sweet, like kind of a.
It's like candy.
I know.
It's just like dances on your tongue.
It's like candied bacon,
Mm-hmm.
but not at all.
The other one,
People have heard more
For-
silent spots on this podcast.
So for
They're
the-
like, what are they doing? Did I
these
lose
two-
signal?
what was I talking about?
This is one you just got to enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For these two, I'd say it's different though. The newer one's a little more spicy, or the older one's a little more spicy than the new one. It has a little more kick, not in a bad way, but
Yours
Haven't tried.
backwards.
None of them are bad.
no.
I just think both those are such good pours.
They are just the for me that
I agree with
aftertaste,
you.
kind of the
I feel
The
like
spice
they're
on-
the most similar though of any two,
Yeah.
probably.
The spice on
reportedly
that.
it's the same, kind of recipe or the same mash
Mash
bill,
bill.
I guess. Yeah.
The spice on the new one is more on the back end, whereas the
Like,
spice
for
on
me, it's just more of a, I don't want to say harshness, but just
yeah,
there's more of a,
I think that's
kinda-
probably what I mean by
yeah.
spice.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying the right word.
Yup.
Or not, but
Logan's new
You're
to
like,
the bourbon.
it
game.
bites you. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Honeysuckle.
How do
I
they get that
definitely
banana?
have
A lot of
They
honeysuckle
put a
in this
banana
one.
tree in that thing. Is there banana staves?
Yeah.
And the funny
Shout out
part
Dirk.
the funny part of it, it's really all subjective. It's what do you like? I've had people that take and they go, "Oh, that's terrible. That's amazing."
Yeah.
And
Dude.
and it's not wrong. It's what do you like? What is your personal taste?
Yeah.
Me,
Yeah.
I like just of course for me, the story is half of the battle, right? Who was the guy? What did he do? Always find bourbon, it's just it's a great story. It's a guy that, really just just revolutionized the bourbon industry, right? Like just took it and made it so that, just did it as well as he could possibly do it. And it shows, you know. I mean, that company endures today. The brands that he created endure today. And this is in the 30s. This is in the 40s, you know.
So
what brands endure that long?
So the crazy thing that I think about all the time, and it's almost like obsess over it, is like the Henry Fords, like the Walt Disneys of the world. Like, I think the coolest thing is building something that outlives your lifetime.
Absolutely.
And I think that when you look at these, I mean, Walt Disney is something that, like, he built a vision. He built something that to the finest thing of every detail of everything that he did. Like, I go to every year when we go down to golf, one of the days we'll after I get done golfing, we head over to Disney World. We hit one of the different resorts down there, and people are always like, "Oh, you like love going to Disney World?" I'm like, not for what you would think, like why I like going there. I go there and Madison's like, she goes, "You really don't talk." She goes, "You're just literally like focused on like I look at the finest details of all of it." And it's just like mind blowing that they put in that new Star Wars exhibit, or I don't want to call it exhibit. I don't know what attraction. And they spent like $2 billion on it. But to their card readers, your card reader, when you go up to buy something, is different, that it looks like it's out of Star Wars. Like, I'm looking at the top of the buildings, the way that they ran the power, and it's like it's out of Star Wars. I'm like, look at every single detail everywhere. They did not miss anything.
Think about the marketing. That company, for somebody like you have to think about it, okay? This was something that appealed to kids in the, 30s, 40s? I mean, I don't even know. 50s, whatever, okay? And the kids today know the same characters. They know the same thing. Talk about evolving, marketing, figuring out who your target audience is and appealing to them. It's just as relevant, if not more relevant now than it was back then. Spanning decades, spanning generations.
Well,
which I think
we talked about it at dinner. It's the not selling a tangible physical product. It's selling an emotion,
the feeling you get from the product,
because
right?
that feeling that resonated with kids in the early 1900s that he had the vision for still resonates with kids today. Right.
Yeah.
The same with any brand that stands the test of time.
Rolex watch, dude.
Coca-Cola.
What is the thing? It's the feeling that you get when you put it on and you wear it, and nobody, 99% of the people have no idea that it's any different than any other watch. They don't pay attention to that stuff. It's not that it doesn't keep time better. It actually is probably one of my worst timekeeping.
I'm pretty sure their actual time's off. Like, I'm pretty sure they get behind over, like, they can't get the actual timing correct on them. Like,
the feeling that you get, because it's, maybe it's just your own internal self. When I reach this milestone, I'm going to buy this. Or for you, giving this to one of my guys, it's a special thing, right? A father hands it down to his son, right? This is a timepiece. It's a piece of, engineering piece of equipment, right?
So I'll say that the coolest things I've got to do since MMG opened, in the 4.5 years, if I had to put actual monumental points in MMG, it was actually giving out those 3 watches.
Right? Because it's memorable. And a lot of times when you do that, the person, the recipient of it, wouldn't go out and spend that, right? And so it's a special thing.
Even if they would, it's just something that I look at it as I know people have been at companies for how, and it's not even like that part of it, but it's also the part that,
I'm not saying they couldn't afford it, but just
but it's like the spot.
Go, okay,
the spot too, where I
can talk my wife into this. It's no problem.
They stood next to me when a company was
even though we're wedding
at zero. Like, they stood next to me at a point where now, where we're at now in business, same thing with where you're at now in business. Like, I mean, the hiring of employees becomes a lot easier. The getting new team members is much easier. Now, with our office and everything like that, I mean, we have people by groves every month that want to come work for us. We get apps every single day. And it was in the basement, that was not the case. The basement, nobody really knew who we were. And it was like, I'm talking to Dalton in the beginning. I'm like, dude, you want to come bet on this? Like, let's do it. And then it's like, Logan's like, give me a shot, man. Like, I want to come. And then it's like, we're sitting here. I'm like, dude, it's not as glorious as it's hyped up to be right now. But then it's like, as we progress forward, I'm going to say that one of the points is getting to hand those out as like a physical thing. But then on the other side is getting to watch people actually truly develop and grow. That I can see how far Dalton has come. I see how far Logan's come, Dre, Ricky, Lauren. I mean, all these different people in the company. And I watch them progress as people, not just within our walls, but people outside the walls. That it's like Logan golf, and I can tell that like emotional control level when he golfs is way different. And I watch just the maturity level grow. And I watch those things as like those are things I pay attention to, which I feel like it's kind of weird that like that's what I focus on. But it's also like I feel that's true movement.
It's not weird at all. That's the biggest metric that you have.
Yeah.
Growth, right? Same thing I was saying earlier. The people that can say, I made a mistake on that. Those are my most valuable people. The people that I promote, the people that I go, this is a guy that can move up in the company. Is a guy that goes, I made a mistake here, Jeff. Tell me what I can do. How can I make this mistake? Because I can tell you, nobody in the company makes more mistakes than me. Okay, I have the most decisions to make, and so just by sheer numbers, I make mistakes. It's just part of life, right?
It displays a level of trust too. When someone is willing to put the good of their like appearance aside to say, hey, I messed this up, but I know that it's in the overall company and movement's well-being. To say, hey, I fucked this up. I need help figuring out how we're going to make this better. You know that person isn't going to make a bigger mistake down the line and try to hide it. They're not going to try to hide it for their well-being.
If somebody, any of my employees are watching this, I hope they won't listen to this lesson, but you can just fake it. But dude, I screwed something up. And I'm like, really? Oh man, I love you, bro. And then it didn't even really mess anything up. They're like me.
But the other thing too, though, is I've had people
You're
that
the best. You want a raise?
So it's funny. I've had people that have
I
like
fucked up more than him. Wait a minute.
I've had people I've had people that have tried to fake that within our walls. And the crazy thing is I'm going to say some of our highest talent level people are not with us anymore. Like, but it wasn't because of their skill level of what they did. It was the type of people that they were. And my thing is I don't weigh people always on a skill level. If I take somebody that's at 100% right, or say 95% right now, or somebody that's at 75% right now, that 75% is willing to grow and scale and learn, that 75% will end up being a 200% at some point. That person,
100%. We throw a lot of percents around here.
Yeah, but that person that's sitting at a 95% will never increase over that.
50% of the time, it works every time.
Exactly. But it's like when you look at those people, I've had a lot of people that were crazy talented that they will never progress any further forward in their life than where they're at actively right now, because the whole world happens to them. Nothing's their fault. But I look at people that come on that have a lower skill level that they're going to way overdo or succeed, whatever, past that other person. The only thing that they have to wait for is time. That there's probably a lot of people that got into business that were way more talented, way smarter and everything else than myself. But I've just messed up a lot more times. I've learned a lot more lessons and I've learned what I need to do. But it's like, my thing is I'm never going to stop learning. I'm never going to stop growing and evolving. And because of that, it's made it to where our growth is not slowing down. Our growth continues to pick up. But it's because of that factor. And it's something I know my greatest good I can bring to the company is getting that instilled in other people. If I instill that in 25 other people, game on. Like that single thing is just, I think humans in general, I think people all the time, and once again, it goes back to the society that we're raised in, that if you get good jobs your whole entire life, everything that you do is perfect, everything like that, then you think that you're perfect all the time. You think that you don't do any wrong. You don't think that my deal is you have to have somebody around you that checks you all the time. And it's whoever that may be, find that person. I mean, my wife checks me all the time on stuff. Early days, I wasn't real good at listening to it. I've became much better at it that once a month we have a spot that I critique her business and I tear it down to the ground. She does the same thing with MMG. But it's at a very level-headed position that it's not an attack. It's what can we both do as people to grow. And now I have a leadership team, same thing. I want them to break down the business just like I do all the time. But when they're coming from the same position I am, movement becomes different. And I think a lot of people struggle with that.
It's hard. It's hard to do because you reach a level of success and you think in your head, well, I've achieved this and I've done these things. And so I'm pretty smart or whatever, however it happens, right? But the ability to listen and go, I mean, I hope my people, and I say this to them, know that at any time you can come to me and say, dude, you're dead wrong on this. You're not seeing it. This is the deal, and I'll go into it with an open mind. I'll every time go, okay, wipe away all I'm right. I've been doing this since I was 5 and, all that stuff. Take that away and listen to the person. And, are they right? Are they, and some of the things that have helped me the most that I've been able to utilize in my business career are things that people said, you're not seeing this. Okay. Here's what you're missing. A, B, and C. And I go,
it's a learning lesson that goes both ways though.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times that I tell people in the company, I want them to come my way when they have a problem or they see fit that something could be done differently. And sometimes they'll come to me with a different solution to a problem. I'm like, all right, why do you see it that way? And then they'll go through it. And then I'll say, did you think about this, this, and this? And sometimes you may have a lens that you're seeing the whole entire field, and then somebody is looking at a 10-yard portion of it, and you need to open up their mind to seeing the whole picture. And when you open up their mind, they're like, they now actually back your decision much more.
Absolutely.
Or you can then 2 people can come to a better conclusion than what either one of us had individually. And that's what I find crazy with our leadership group on Wednesdays is I used to think I'm an operations guy. I can figure it out until I started really plugging that in to how many is in our leadership group now?
8.
6. What? 8. 7, 8.
These are all people in the company?
Do what?
All people
Yeah.
in the company.
So we have a group every Wednesday that we go over what's happened in the last 7 days, marketing wise, content wise, sales wise. What do we need to do? What actionable steps can we do to move forward in the next 7 days? And looking back at the last 7 days, what did we do wrong and that we can improve on moving forward?
Yeah.
And it's crazy how many things that we bring up that I have an idea or I have a thought process. When I bring it up, getting all the different inputs from the different departments, everything like that. I think that one meeting each week moves me forward more than almost anything else.
Fun stuff. Yeah.
It is.
It's amazing.
And today we were sitting there talking about January 1, we didn't have any software in place. Now we have Notion, we have Salesforce, we're looking at Hootsuite, we're looking at all these different deals, and there's the operation side of now we're focusing on what the process looks like from touching each person. That wasn't even a conversation at the beginning of this year.
Right.
It's just wild, how it progresses and how fast it moves. That now it's if we went and onboarded 10 accounts next week, I don't even feel I'm not even nervous about it. Yeah. If you would have told me 10 months ago we're going to onboard 10 accounts next week, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, right.
No way.
I'm not sure about this.
We did 5 accounts this Monday. And just the onboarding this week and everything and the handoff is just so much smoother, and it's such a better client experience. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to build is the best client experience possible.
That's what it's all about, right?
And
people forget that the people that buy your things are your. I try to tell people this, but they're really our boss. We can look at our clients adversarially if we want to, but really they hired us. We work for them, right? They hired us to do a job for them, okay? And so what level of customer service do we owe them? What level of, communication? There's just a lot, and so you think, oh, well, these people are being unreasonable or whatever. $2 million for something, okay? So wouldn't you be kind of hey, shouldn't you do it shouldn't you do this or, blah, blah, blah? We need to listen to it. If they want it done a certain way, let's do it that way. It's not that big a deal. Why are we, well, this is how we done it. Well, this is how we did it in 1991, and that's how we're going to do it today. Well, it's not the same as it was. It's not. You got to adapt to the times. You have to know your customer. You have to realize, in my business, everybody I build a house for is successful people, right? So yeah, I can nickel and dime them. I can beat them up over, pennies, step over dollars to save pennies. Or I can go, hey, take one of my things that I tell my people is this. Some people look at these as problems. I look at it as an opportunity, right? Because everybody has a problem. Construction is a very inexact science, right? We're still scrabbling around in the dirt and doing it the way we did 100 years ago. It's not changed that much other than a few technology. But so you're going to encounter a hurdle, right? So you can, number one is go, oh, well, this guy messed it up and, I'll split it with you and, blah, blah, blah. Or you can go, you know what, man, sorry about that. We sure could have done better on that. And I want to just make sure that we take care of you, that you realize that we appreciate your business and that if there's anything else I can do to help you out, then please let me know, right? People go, wow. Because who does that, right? Everybody else is going, oh, well, this is $12.50 and, my markup is $14.75 now. And people go, God, I'm giving you $1.4 million. You're really going to charge me for one more closet pole, God. Or another thing. This is another thing. This industry, everybody goes, well, you get one garage door opener. You can have one garage door. Any of the other garage door openers are extra.
Right? I do. That's while I was saying the construction one.
Whose idea was that? It's $350 for a garage door opener.
Dude, every new construction
if you buy a
house,
garage door, if you have 14 garage doors, you get 14 openers, okay? Yeah. That's not even a question.
I bought my house day one. Lou was calling a garage company to get my other garage door opener and put in.
Why would?
And it was like,
do you know how mad that makes people when they go, okay, wait a minute. When this is over, I'm going to write you a check for $1.2 million. And I've got 3-car garage and I get one garage door opener. That's I have to open. Yeah. Right. What is that? Why? It doesn't make sense. Nothing makes people madder than that. They're okay. I guess so. Sure, whatever. But then
that's like losing a $80,000 car deal over floor mats.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know what?
Yeah.
Fuck you on the floor mats. Nope, you're not getting them in. That person's still going to buy the car, and then they leave there and they're pissed because they didn't get floor mats. And I'm like, dude, they're like $30. Like, just throw it in.
There's so many examples of that. I go into Genesis a month and a half ago, or probably probably 3 weeks ago. I go into Genesis. My girlfriend and I want to upgrade our membership. I have a membership myself. She is not a Genesis member. I go in. We want to upgrade, do a couples membership, and get the next level up of clubs to where we can use the tennis facilities, the pickleball, everything. So we get the membership set up, and then on my individual membership, they're like, okay, we'll cancel your individual membership, and you guys, and then you guys will start out on the couples membership immediately, but there's a 30-day cancellation on your membership. I'm like, are you fucking serious? So I'm paying for 2 gym memberships this month. Like, you realize that I just agreed to pay you over triple of what I was already paying you, and you're gonna dick me around on this 1 month's of payment. I'm like, I feel like after the 6 months of almost just canceling the membership outright just because of the principle of it.
Dude, it's the same thing when I was in the car space. We were paying a marketing company, and there's a big software that most all companies use. This is actually one of the things that the whole reason I even downloaded Adobe Cloud to my computer the first time, that we have a software, and on dealerships, when you see the picture of the car and it has like the dealership logo on the bottom with that little banner, they charge $1,000, or they did this 4.5 years ago. They charge $1,000 for one of those. And my dad, we have a manager's meeting. We go over. My dad's like, I want a custom truck one and a lifetime warranty one. He won like 3 or 4 different ones, so I have them made. And then my dad gets a bill, and this company, we were paying $30,000, $40,000 a month, this marketing company. We get a bill, and it has additional $4,000 on it that month. And my dad comes to my office. He's fuming. And he's like, what is this for? I was like, those little banners that you wanted, those are $1,000 a piece.
Yeah, buddy.
And so I ended up, my dad wanted other ones. And he's like, you figure out how to do this. I literally went home one night, downloaded Adobe Premiere or Adobe Cloud. I get Photoshop, and I watched YouTube videos for probably 3 hours, and I figured out how to make them myself. Where then we had different ones all the time. I had other dealers reaching out. They're like, dude, how much do you pay this company to get these different banners? I'm like, I make them myself.
Yeah.
And it was
One
just
time $300
Yeah.
fee, and you know.
But it was crazy that something like that, they just nickel and dimed you all the time. If they just gave that one thing out for free, dealers would have been on cloud 9 about it. And our big thing when we came into the marketing space, I will never nickel and dime anyone on the other side too. I tell people, I look how many we've
So
designed.
short-sighted.
You know how many
Short-sighted,
trucks are running around Kansas City that are fully designed by us that the graphic companies can't design them correctly, so we do all the design. We eat the cost on it. The merchandising on shirts and everything else like that, we're not making any money on any of that stuff. We're just putting better shirts to companies, but it's like all these companies that work with us, if somebody needs business cards, we'll do all their business cards for whatever hard cost is on them. We don't need to make any money on that. We need to make money on what we're great at on the marketing side of the digital, the content, everything like that. But everything else, we'll just handle for you. And people like think we walk on water because we're not just knocking them every 2
Nobody
seconds for
wants
more
to be
money.
nickel and dime.
Nobody.
It's like, you know, I mean, and again with the car business, but how many people get aggravated when you go, okay, well, here's the car. It's, you know, $64,927. Oh, by the way, we got this
Nitrogen in the
dock
tires.
fee. We sent it out to an antenna ball repair, you know, and if you would like to buy, you know, antenna warranty, you know, it's only $12 a month for
Forever.
120 months. That's how we set this one up, you know.
a
I
month.
mean, isn't that crazy? The car business, they're doing 120 month loans on
Yeah.
cars. You're like, this car is going to be rusted in a junkyard before.
Dude, it's just like, I don't know. I just think the mentality of just, I've just never understood how to, I just,
So,
yeah. Dalton thoughts.
I've never
Sorry to interrupt
tasted
you,
a
Dan.
wild turkey like
that's
that in my
freaking
life.
delicious.
isn't that good?
Yeah,
That
it's,
might be the best.
that's actually insane.
So the rumor
That's
is,
crazy.
this is unsubstantiated stuff. I'm sure there's somebody watching this to go, this dude doesn't know shit. But the rumor is, okay,
They do that to me all the time.
when Julian Van Winkle III, right, his father lost Stitzelweller Distributor. They sold it off to the company that owned Seagram's, right, and Crown Royal. And when he started, if you started a distillery today, good stuff's not ready for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So he didn't have, so the very first Pappy Van Winkle release was rumored to be Wild Turkey Juice, that his father and the Wild Turkey guy were like friends. He said, man, I'll help you out. I want you to do good. I'm going to let you have this stuff, you know? And so the rumor is, and it's just, I read it in a book. I saw it on TikTok, so it's got to be true.
It has to be true,
And,
though.
yeah, so,
For sure.
but anyway, that's the rumor is that this,
Well, wild turkey does not taste like this today. That's
no, it
that's
does not.
certain.
That's for
Does
sure.
not. Not much tastes like that.
No.
So I saved that for last because that's probably
That's-
among the best stuff. And so the cool part
I could
about
have
it
made
is
Dalton's whole entire
you can
podcast.
see this Austin Nichols on there.
They
He was
don't-
like
they
a
don't-
grocery store owner. He's like, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to name it Jeff Julian Ford Trucks.
They don't
You
they
know?
don't put that on there anymore, dude.
No, don't.
At all.
No.
Jeff, I think we need to go on halves on a full barrel pick of something.
Okay. We gotta get something good though.
I know we need to. I want to like fly out and go
You,
pick it
you
up.
have
though.
to you have to
We need to go
actually
to-
go to the
We need
distillery.
to go to the
It's
distillery.
hard to get on this list though. Anything decent.
If I'll be at a couple different events later this year, they go for auction. I'll call you when it's going,
I mean,
and we'll bid it and
dude,
we'll buy it.
I'm the most impulse buyer you'll ever meet. I'm like, dude, what you mean? No way. It's 42,000.
I'm in.
Let's do it. You're like 6 bottles, man. I'm like, yeah, all right.
We got enough.
Isn't that good?
It's really
Yeah,
good.
that's
Yeah.
delicious.
So they have one that is literally called Cheesy Gold Foil. Okay, and it's some of the people just go crazy over this stuff.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, Cheesy
I've
Gold
heard-
Foil. It's got,
yeah,
and this has got, but that gold foil is even cheesier than that gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's highly sought after. You know, like I say, I only bought that. I'm not a big Wild Turkey fan personally, but I bought that just because like the price was right, and I was like, now I'm like, oh, I see why they charge all that money for it. It's really good.
Yeah.
That's the one you said 400 to 600.
Yeah, that's probably
600.
Yeah, depending on the year, and higher proof, of course, is always more expensive.
No, it's definitely been a good bourbon lineup for the podcast.
No doubt.
I think this is the first time we've done it. They're definitely the most bourbon we've had on the podcast.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if there's ever been this much bourbon on this table at one time.
yeah. Hey, Dalton, go
Anytime.
grab that Oats Ancient Cave up there.
Yeah, I'd love to
It's
try
on the
it.
far right. You need to try that
Oh,
too.
the holiday stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, as
I
much
like that
as
stuff.
much as I love
The
the
double oak
stories,
one up top.
that holiday distillery, man, that was a big time deal, man. They produced a lot of bourbon, you know, they produced a lot of stuff.
So this is this double oaked one is the most sought after. So this was one barrel that came out a holiday. It had 332 of these, I think. I didn't even know it was that rare until I bought it. And this definitely doesn't line up to everything we have on the table, but I thought maybe something Jeff hasn't tried.
No, it's crazy because there's stuff that you know, by all rights shouldn't be. Have you heard of 13th Colony? You tried some for 13th Colony.
So I have the
That's
two
some
like
good stuff.
Americus, Georgia, right? Americus, Georgia. Who would go?
to be fair, the two that we
I
have.
love that Georgia
Wait,
bourbon.
What's the one you have the
Double oak.
that double oats that we had at his house? I have the two that you can like find on the
What color is the double oak?
It's like it's a dark brown.
Okay.
yeah.
with
So I
gold
have
on it.
I had the blue and the yellow.
Yeah, those are the
The-
kind of.
They had the yellow at Total Wine the other day. And
So
I
those
found-
ones-
I had a
Even
bottle of
that's
the blue
good.
too. Yeah,
It's
it's
even
pretty good.
good.
Yeah,
It's great.
So it's not bad. Like
they
that.
want.
that's what I bought for
What they
Hank.
want for it.
I think one of
And what's crazy is nobody ever heard of it, and they go all day long for $650 a bottle.
Yeah.
And
But
people fall
that-
all over themselves to buy one.
that
And
double
nobody
oaked
ever
it-
heard of it.
But it's thick. Like
Oh, it's almost black. I mean, you look up like this is this motor oil? Are you sure? You know, but it's so good. It's amazing.
I mean, that one just smells good.
it's just a lot sweeter. Like
It's really good. It's amazing. It's by far the best thing I've ever tasted from them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually nearly stumbled upon. So when I bought 4 of those bottles, the guy sent me a price tag on. I'm like, seems like a deal. I'll take them. Shows I didn't know they were little bottles. I'd no idea.
I've done
He
that
sent me.
before,
He
too.
sent me a picture. These looked like full size bottles.
Yeah, the
And
picture you sent me, I'm like, oh damn, okay.
I was like, oh damn! And then they
That's
show
a
up.
lot.
That's
And
happened to me before.
The guy drove like 45 minutes to meet me, and he pulls out
You were
this
like,
thing. And I'm like,
oh.
looking. I'm like, damn.
So where are the bottles of the
You
pictures?
can't back
at?
out now. You can't be like, oh,
Yeah, like-
I'm good.
So a little secret of mine. Whenever I'm on Craigslist or anything like that, or not Craigslist really anymore. But
Yeah,
Wow,
when
that
do you
sounded
use
kinda
Buying
weird.
booze off
when do you
Craigslist.
use Craigslist?
Back page. You know,
to be fair, I bought the short bus on Craigslist. That's the only reason I'm
Oh,
thinking
that's
about
good.
that. But
Makes
Marketplace,
sense.
whenever
Makes
I'm
sense.
messaging somebody, and
Is this a scale model?
so a lot of times, a lot of things I buy tend to be up north of like Kearney. There'll be a lot of like gyms up there, and I'll be like, "Hey, you want to meet me in Liberty? I live in Overland Park. I think
You
it's
can't
about
give
halfway."
away your secrets.
That's a great one. I'll have to remember
They're
that.
like, they're probably not listening to the podcast. I'm like, oh,
Sure.
Now they
It's
might
hard.
be. Now
I'm
they
like-
might call you on
I'm
it.
like, I'm pretty sure there's a Target right off
Nah,
of
buddy, we're
152.
we're meeting in
You want to
Cameron.
meet there? I'm like,
Man,
I was like, tell me when you're about 5 minutes out.
That's pretty good thinking.
next
thinking.
next guy you try to buy something from, he's like, nah, brother,
eh,
Cameron.
Nah, bro. I know
Cameron's
you
all I
live
can
in
do.
Liberty.
I'll meet you in Kearney, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I normally drive about 2.5 minutes to go pick up whatever I buy. Liberty Target's my meeting spot for anything I purchase. So, but yeah, don't give out my secrets to everyone on Marketplace. Little tip for the trade. But Jeff, very much enjoyed this.
And
Yeah,
Dave,
man.
dude, you are, I mean, ever since I met you, I've been in awe, man. You've revolutionized what I think about marketing. You've done what very few people have done. And so I'm just blown away by you and all your team. It's just an amazing thing, you know. And like I said before, the purpose that we were supposed to get together for lunch the other day was for me to talk to you about, we have a new office. We have this Showplace office that no builder in town is going to have an office like we have. I mean, we pulled out all the stops. We went, okay, price is not a consideration on anything. this is what we do. We build beautiful stuff. And so this is the place where we showcase what we can do, our creativity. And we built this office. So it's just getting to the part where it's the pretty stuff starting to go in. I think we need to, I'm excited about getting your team in there, doing some cool videos, you know, some hype around this thing, because like I say, this is kind of the culmination. It's like the, you know, nothing like the Mona Lisa, but if you know, it's the creation that you do, that because this is what you do, and you want to just show what you can accomplish or what you can do if you just, you know, pull out all the stops and let nothing hold you back. And so I'm excited about our partnership here on this thing. I'm excited about, you know, getting you guys in there, fresh, young, new perspective, right? And helping us to elevate ourselves to the next level. I don't think anybody in Kansas City has accomplished what you've accomplished in this space in the short amount of time that you've done it. It's amazing to me. And I'm just blown away by everything you've done, and your mindset and your mentality. And the people that you surround yourself with are just top notch in every single way. So I want to learn from you. I want, you know, you to help me, to show me what can I do, right? How can we believe, you know, it's always find houses at a profit, always. I don't know, did I say that? No, but hey, you know what? There's so many times when I go, all right, this is what I have one right now where this driveway wasn't a great driveway, and it's a beautiful house in Loch Lloyd, right? And nobody else is going to help me pay for any of it. And the whole driveway has to come out. It's a $40,000 deal, right? And I could go, oh, well, you know, it was hot that day, and it was this guy, and it was that guy, and blah, 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 and we'll replace 3 pieces of it. That's not the right thing. The right thing is to make it right for the people, right? And so does that hurt? Absolutely. Nobody wants to just go, oh, here's $40,000, you know, thank you. But it's not the point. The point is, you know, do the right thing, take care of people, and it comes back to you. It is the right way to do it.
I'll say that in no way, shape, or form in MMG can I take really any credit at this point from a team perspective and a client perspective. If I can go down as one thing, I hope I can go down as just making the right partnerships, that you have a phenomenal product, a phenomenal service, which when we partner with companies that have those things, our job really isn't that hard. And that's where I think a lot of times people give us a lot of praise for the marketing side. They give us a lot of praise for that. But at the end of the day, if you have a great product and service, we just need to show the world. That's it. Like, and I
gotta tell the story, right?
Exactly. You tell the story that
the story is the thing.
It is. And that's where the first time we sat down and we had drinks, I just saw the passion level and the want and willingness to do the right by customers every time. That outweighs any amount of marketing. I will tell people all the time, if you do that thing, over time your business will be successful. You don't need all the marketing. You don't need all those other things. Can those things hyperdrive on it? 100%. Great product and service always will outdo any amount of marketing. It will outdo any amount of sales. It will outdo all of the rest of it.
Word of mouth.
It is. That we have so many clients that come our way that are referred from this client or referred from that person. That I sat with a guy this week that he's like, my buddy put his trust in you guys, and he doesn't really trust many people at all. So if he thinks you guys are square, then he goes, I think you guys are square. And it's like, we have so many meetings like that all the time. And it's the same thing that I know that your guys' business is built on. And that's like, my thing is I never sell anybody. It's if they want to change it, they want more eyeballs on what they have, we're the resource to do it. We're just a resource for a company to become better. And it's, I got to give a huge shout out to Brock too on this.
Oh man.
For putting us in the same room.
Dude, he's an amazing guy. I see huge things in that guy's future. Let me tell you.
Phenomenal guy.
That guy, man, from the first minute I met him, I could see this guy is a rock star. This guy's going places, you know, easy to see.
He cares about people.
So easy to see. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
So it was one of those things. First time I went to dinner with him, the girls actually set it up, and I'm normally not a fan of that at all. And when I met Brock, it was just one of those things. I'm like, we're going to be good friends. And he's out for the right reasons. And I'm very much Dalton, Logan, Gray, Ricky, Benson, or everyone I surround myself with is just the key thing I look at is, are people out for the right reason? If they are, everything else falls into place.
It does. It really does.
So
it's amazing. So
thank you again for coming
oh
on.
man, thanks for having me. It was a fun time, and I'm honored, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're
gonna continue to do big things, and I'm excited to see
to do some big things together.
Generation 2 of the Julian Builders.
For sure.
So thank you.
Thanks, man.
That's the M3 podcast.
Thanks, guys.
Peace,
brother.
That's great.
That was phenomenal.
That was really good.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.